All right, where do the Georgia Bulldogs sit with some of their top targets on defense in the 2024 class? Earlier this week, I made a video about offensive targets, where Georgia sits with them, how many 5-stars they can land on offense. Make sure you check that video out. So today, all about defense. I'm going to start along the defensive line. Now, a big-time prospect that I have my eye on is Justin Scott, big 6'4", 310-pounder, interior defensive tackle prospect out of Chicago. Not even going to try to pronounce the high school because I'm going to butcher it, but I think Notre Dame probably sits in the best position for him right now. But this kid does love Georgia from what I've heard behind the scenes, and he's going to take his official visit June 2nd. He can get after the quarterback from the inside, a run stuffer. Now, he's not 330, he's not 340 like Jamal Jarrett, who they brought in the last cycle, but he's a pretty good athlete for 310. He's got plenty of size, and he is a game wrecker, 5-star defensive tackle, one of the best in the country, and he's going to be in Athens that first weekend in June for an official visit. If Georgia wins him over, that's a successful visit. I can see Georgia landing him down the road, but I do think they have some more work to do. Edric Houston, an in-state guy out of Buford High School. He's been a big-time prospect for a long time now. Georgia's always been in the mix. I've always thought Georgia sits in an excellent position for him and still feel that way today. 6'3", 255, plays on the edge for Buford. He's got like a 7-foot wingspan. He is long, he is athletic, a natural pass rusher. I think if he continues to add more weight and muscle, which he has the frame to do, I could see him playing inside at the next level. 64 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 15 more quarterback hurries. He's another guy who could set the edge in the run game, but he's going to get after the quarterback, and he's got a great motor. 5-star, number 4 defensive line prospect in the country for the 24 class. Always been a big deal, and I think Georgia sits in a really good position for him. If they make him a top priority, I do think Georgia has a very good chance of landing him. Not sure when he's taking an official visit to Athens. I expect him to take one, but I don't think he's come out and said it, or I haven't heard what weekend that is going to be, but he's definitely an in-state guy to know. Another one, Justin Green out of Mountain View High School, 6'4", 260. Georgia came on late here. He's been a big target for schools like Auburn, South Carolina, a few others, Miami. I still think is in the mix, but Georgia did offer him later in the process. He was in town for G-Day, I guess a couple weekends ago now. He's going to be taking his official visit that first weekend in June as well. So if Georgia continues to push for him and starts to make him a top priority, he's another in-state guy from right down the road. I think that's barely in Gwinnett County, but it's maybe 30, 45 minutes at the most from Athens. So he's kind of a nearby kid that you need to know. So those are 3 guys that I think are going to play on the interior at the next level. On the edge, got to remember, Georgia took 3 outstanding edge defenders in last class. Damon Wilson, Sam Pippa, Gabe Harris. So don't expect this to be a crazy 5-star filled class in this 24 cycle. CJ Jackson, in-state guy to know, did play at Parkview. He's at Tucker now. Long, athletic, looks like Leonard Floyd, 6'4", 220. His recruitment took off, I think in November after an excellent junior season where he was just a quarterback's worst nightmare. An elite pass rusher, in my opinion. Long, athletic. Clemson, Alabama, and Georgia Tech is actually a program to know. He's taken multiple visits there, but I have been told that he is high on Georgia's board at that position. A guy that I have to go see for sure when spring practices start in May. So hope to have more to come there. I think he's taking an official visit to Georgia in June, but I have not been confirmed a date. Dylan Stewart, one of the top 5 prospects in the country consensus. 6'5", 240, another elite pass rusher out of Washington, D.C. 16 sacks last year. He is taking his official visit to Georgia June 2nd. South Carolina, big-time player here. Alabama and Ohio State. Those are the 3 schools that I think Georgia has to beat out for. And I think they're on the outside looking in right now. So Georgia has some work to do there, but he is the number 1 edge defender in the class. Now, a guy that I do think they are in a favorable position for, and maybe the team to beat right now, is Jordan Ross, Vestavia Hills High School in Birmingham. Everyone that I'm connected with in Alabama tells me that, hey, Georgia's done a really good job here. They're a team that he really likes, and Georgia's in this more than people think. 5-star from Birmingham. Hard to pull those guys away from Alabama and Auburn, but I think Georgia's doing an excellent job right now. He's going to take his official visit the weekend of June 9th. So those first 2 weekends in June are going to be massive, massive, massive. Jordan Ross is going to be taking his official visit. That second weekend, number 2 edge, 6'5", 215. another guy with long. He's got, a big wingspan. He's tall. He can get after the quarterback, use those long arms and hands to get into the backfield. He's excellent. He's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. 5-star from Alabama, but Georgia, from everything I'm hearing, is very much in the mix. And with a big official visit, if that goes well, I could definitely see Georgia pulling him out of Birmingham. That'd be a big, big deal. Middle linebacker, right? Everyone's talking about Sammy Brown, #1 inside linebacker in the country. Easy 5-star out of Jefferson, 5A state champion wrestler, just an absolute beast in the weight room. 6'2", 230, runs like a deer, one of the top running backs, one of the more productive running backs, I should say, across Georgia. But defensively, where Georgia wants him, 113 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and an interception. Runs at 10.7 in the 100-meter at 230 pounds. Just a freak athletically. He's going to be taking his official visit to Georgia June 9th, along with a few other guys that I mentioned already in this video. They're going to have to beat out Clemson. This, I think, is neck and neck right now. He loves Brent Venables in Oklahoma, but, Dabo has his way. People fall in love with Dabo, and he's done an excellent job of recruiting the state of Georgia. Sammy Brown is one of his top targets, as expected. I think Clemson may have the slight lead here over Georgia, but it's hard to say no to Glenn Schumann right now. His resume speaks for itself. If you play for him, you're going to go on to be developed and do big things, whether you end up going to the NFL like most of them do, or you get better and transfer to somewhere like Alabama, like Trisman Marshall had to do. I think he's going to do very well there. But Sammy Brown is an elite prospect from right down the road, Jefferson High School, so he's a nearby kid. I think Georgia has to beat out Clemson here, and I think this will all come down to official visits, and I think he's going to make a decision in July. So a 5-star to keep an eye on that. I still think Georgia has a real chance of getting, but I think Clemson has a slight edge right now going into the summer. Now, they do have a commitment from DeMarcus Riddick, 6'2", 210, from the middle of Alabama. He's between, he lives between Tuscaloosa and Auburn. He also lives between Birmingham and Montgomery. So he's right in the middle of kind of, that circle in Alabama, right in the middle of the state. Committed to Georgia, can run, can hit. He's been committed to Georgia since, I think, November 4th, early in November. But I think it would not surprise me at all if he had decided to open things up. Alabama rolled out the red carpet for him for A-Day, was in the car with Nick Saban pulling up to the stadium. He is a big deal for Alabama, and I know he loves Glenn Schumann in Georgia, but at the end of the day, from what I'm hearing, is that it would not be surprising to see him open up his recruitment. I think Alabama might be, the team with the most momentum right now. He doesn't do much talk about his recruiting much. He's not big on social media. So, while he's still publicly committed to Georgia, I think, in reality, he's still very much open to other schools. And I think Alabama might be the team to beat from what I'm hearing from sources in Alabama right now. 5-star linebacker from, between Birmingham and Montgomery. I mean, it's going to be hard to pull him and keep him away when the time comes. He's taken multiple trips to Auburn, but I think Alabama is definitely Georgia's biggest threat here. Can Glenn Schumann hold on to him? If he can, that would be a massive pull. Another linebacker to know is Chris Cole, 6'3", 210 out of Salem High School in Virginia. Was in Athens earlier this year. Is going to be back in Athens for an official visit June 16th. He also has official visits scheduled to Notre Dame and Miami. Don't let the 3-star ranking fool you. I've been told Georgia likes this kid a lot. So between those three, I think Georgia's probably going to land 2. I think ideally Glenn Schumann would like to take 2. So those are 3 to know. In the secondary, Georgia's already kind of not completely filled up. They've got 4 committed already. 5-star Ellis Robinson. Elite cornerback prospects already on board. He's recruiting for Georgia. Don't think he's flipping anywhere. Peyton Woodyard, also a kid who loves Georgia, from St. John Bosco out in California. Has some family in the Atlanta area, so it's not like he's completely this out-of-state guy. He's got ties to the Georgia program and very much excited to be a Bulldog. 4-star safety. They also have Jalen Hayward, 4-star safety out of Rockledge, Florida. He's the guy to keep an eye on as far as, is he going to stay committed? He's someone I think might open up his recruitment down the road a little bit. Bunch of programs still hard after him, but he calls Athens home. That's what he told me. He goes, I can't wait to get back to Athens. That's home for me. I'm still 100% committed. But when these out-of-state kids, make early commitments, a lot of times they end up backing off, and they might recommit, but it wouldn't surprise me if he decided to open things up and look at other schools, but still think Georgia is probably the team to beat And again, he's committed. DeMello Jones, another in-state defender out of Swainsboro High School, can play corner, safety, nickel, a versatile defensive back, tremendous athlete who also plays on the offensive side of the ball. The Georgia staff loves him, got him to commit, and I think he's firm in that commitment. Other guys to know, of course, KJ Bolden. He has a spot in this class. If he wants it, I think Georgia sits in a really good spot for him. 5-star athlete, can play wide receiver. I think Georgia likes him a little more in safety, but they're also telling him, hey, you can play kind of wherever you want. If you come to Athens, we're going to find a place for you, and we're going to make it happen. And then Cam Michael is a kid at Statesboro High School, another explosive, dynamic athlete, plays on both sides of the ball. I have a story coming up on him soon, but he's another defensive back to keep an eye on. That's an in-state kid. So for more targets, make sure you head over to Dog Post. But I want to talk just a little bit in this video, a few defensive linemen, a few inside linebackers, a few edge defenders, and a couple more safety or defensive back prospects that I think Georgia fans need to keep an eye on. Don't think it's going to be an A+ defensive class like last year was, but that defensive class in 23 was elite, and I've said that it could be Kirby's best that he has brought in. So not surprising that I don't think this class is going to be full of 5-stars on the defensive side of the ball as much as it has been in recent years, especially last year, but still going to be a very, very good class. Make sure you stay updated on Dog Post. Sign up to the newsletter. We've got a lot of stuff coming, so you don't want to miss out on any of that. Appreciate you all watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now, and I will see you over on Dog Post.